Right, so you can all follow along with us. It will be great.
Second day of Rosh Hashanah at TBS is like the informal like the brother who left the family and like comes back for occasions, but he's looking kind of like haggard and like he's just like kind of drunk. That is what second day is at TBS. It's
Yes,
not
yes.
it's not the formal service you saw yesterday, that's for sure.
Not even a little bit, but
Nope.
it's nice. I kind of like that. Like Rosh
Yeah.
Hashanah is supposed to be kind of, big, and it's a big thing, and it's supposed to be, and then we can kind of like relax a little bit and kind of feel like, okay, we're getting settled into 5781, and you know,
Yeah.
yeah,
We're just in it now.
yes.
Now we have to like live everything we talked about yesterday. Let's see. Mark Rossio says Lynette has an echo. Hold on. Let me. Will you talk for a moment? Let's see.
Yes, let's see if I do have an echo, and we'll get that taken care of.
We will, or will
I
we?
got a new microphone. Look at this. Very exciting. Maybe if I turn down the volume a little bit. Yes, let's see if I do have an echo.
Oh yeah, I hear that. Huh? Weird. I think maybe that's because maybe my microphone is hearing you now. That's weird. I'll move farther away and we'll see. Sorry for the technical stuff, guys. There's always technical stuff because
Always.
it wouldn't be 57. I guess it's 81 now. Wouldn't be this time if we didn't have some tech stuff. Anyway, all right. Shall we get started?
Yeah, let's get started. Let's get started in singing. Rabbi, if you'd like to do any kind of opening, Hine Mato or something.
I sure do.
We're all here together.
Yes.
Today.
Let's sing a little Hine Matov, everyone. I think that's a nice idea. Hine Matov u'mana'im Shevet achim gam yachad. This is really high. Hine Matov u'mana'im Shevet achim gam yachad. 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 All right.
So nice for all of us to be here together. And I'm seeing lots of Shana Tovas and Boker Tovs and folks that are watching, and so wonderful. Let me just turn this up. Sounds like I'm a little soft now. All right.
I know, right? I'm going to try and play with the sound on this end too, everyone. So hopefully we'll make it work. You let us know how we sound. We care just a little bit, though. Because, just a little. Good morning to you, Miriam. Hello, Jimmy. Shana Tova. Hello, Hilda Boker Tov. Hello, Mark Rossio. Marvin's here. Hello, Marvin Pate. Nice to see you. And, all right. Hello, Sarah. And my mom. Hey, Mom. We got the Zimmers are watching. Hello. They got Schneers. Good morning to you guys. Shana Tova. As we said, welcome to the drunk uncle of Rosh Hashanah, second day services. All right, Rabbi, I'm going to hand it over to you, and that's a good transition.
It is a great transition.
Yes.
And, lots of folks on Facebook are seeing what we would normally be doing in the sanctuary. So,
yes. Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah.
Normally it's just a private, only 20 to 40 people show up.
Yeah.
Oh well.
They know what they're getting into. They know that we're like this.
Yes, that's fair. It's the
Yeah.
punchiness post big day. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's turn to we've got this really nice opening reading. So if you check out that pinned comment to our prayer book, you'll see after the first page on page 129, or if you have an actual prayer book with you, I believe that same page will work.
You are right.
It does work. So if you'd like to join with me at the top, we'll start with this. Blessed are the works of your hands, O Holy One. Blessed are the hands that have touched life. Blessed are the hands that have nurtured a child. Blessed are hands that have embraced with love and friendship. Blessed are hands that have planted new seeds. Blessed are hands that have harvested ripe fields. Blessed are hands that have cleaned, washed, mopped, and scrubbed. Blessed are hands that have held pain. Blessed are hands that have become knotty with age. Blessed are hands that are wrinkled and scarred from doing justice. Blessed are hands that hold the promise of the future. Blessed are the works of your hands, O Holy One. I love this reading, and it reminds me of Rabbi Benji, something you said yesterday, that divinity is our shadow, and that what we do with our hands, God follows. And so we do that, the work of blessings and goodness, and that's God doing blessings and goodness in our world.
Yeah, we have to be God's hands.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause maybe God doesn't have hands. Incorporeal.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, here we go.
Yes.
Well, we have the Hatzi Kaddish on the next page. And why don't you everyone join in singing with us? Here we go. Rabbi, you want to lead this or me?
Yeah, I'm happy to do this.
All right,
it's gonna be the regular one. I'm not as good as Mrs. Rose on the Rosh HaShanah one. So
Fair enough.
All right. Yit gadol ve'yit kadash shemei rabba.
Amen.
Ve'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei. Ve'chayechon uv'yomeichon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala, uvizman kariv be'imeru, amen. Yehi shemei rabba mevorach, le'alam ulal me'almaya, yitbarach, ve'yishtabach, v'yitbar v'yitrama v'yinaseh, ve'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal, shemei nekudesha berichu, Le'ela mikol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma, ve'imeru, amen. We continue singing with Baruch Hu, and I see Sammy has joined us. Hi, Sammy. Shana Tova.
You say Shana Tova? All right, let's join and sing. Sam, you gotta lead us. We gotta sing nicely. You ready? And
am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared?
yalla la la la, 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 yalla la la la,
Yalla la la la, yalla la la la.
Baruch Hu, Bart.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai, HaMevorach, le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed.
Yalla la la la, yalla la la la,
Thanks, Sam. Beautiful job singing. Nailed it.
Beautiful. Thanks, Sammy.
All right. Ooh, okay, Rabbi, back to you.
All right, thank you. So, as I mentioned yesterday, that you or that we every morning are encouraged by our tradition to imagine the world as if it's been created anew for the very first time. And on Rosh Hashanah, we celebrate all of creation. We imagine it as the birthday of the world, which we also talked about yesterday during our pre-K Tashlich, which was super fun. So this beautiful reading, if you're following along in the prayer book, which is on page 145, to help encourage us to
I'll be right back.
okay, to feel the sunshine on our face and to appreciate nature, which I don't know about all of you, but I feel like for me, reconnecting with nature has been one of the silver linings of this time. It has been very, very necessary. Helping me get through this and my own healing. So if you'd like to read along, please join with me. We're on page 145. Hello, sun in my face. Hello, you who make the morning and spread it over the fields and into the faces of the tulips and the nodding morning glories and into the windows of even the miserable and the crotchety. Best creature that ever was, dear star, that just happens to be where you are in the universe, to keep us from ever darkness, to ease us with warm touching, to hold us in the great hands of light. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Watch now how I start in happiness and kindness. Very beautiful poem by Mary Oliver. And let's read the next one under that by Henry David Thoreau. The morning wind forever blows. The poem of creation is uninterrupted, but few are the ears that hear it. We can say together, Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer Hameorot. Our praise to you, Adonai, creator of the cosmic lights. And may we enter 5781 with a new appreciation for that wonder of creation, the things that we take for granted every day, and what are some ways perhaps that we can invite that into our morning. It's something I love about prayer, is to be intentional with our gratitude and noticing those things. So we'll now continue on page 150 with our Shema prayer.
I think the pretty one. Okay, and the sound should be fixed now, everyone. You let us know. Sorry about that, but I think I got it now. Rabbi Lynette has a new mic, which is great, and it makes her sound better. And now we're all adjusted for it.
Yes, awesome. Thank you.
All right, yeah. Okay, hopefully. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Shem Kevod Mahuto Leolam Vayend.
We'll continue chanting together. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uvshochbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot beineinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha. Page 153. Leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim l'hiot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
Thanks, Rabbi. What I think we're going to do is I've got a little bit of a Rosh Hashanah meditation that we thought it might be nice. We did all the liturgy yesterday morning, and then we did it again yesterday afternoon. So we thought maybe we could do something a little bit different. So what I'm going to ask everyone to do right now is to, wherever you are, if you could get comfortable, sit back. If you're on a couch or in a chair or wherever you are, take a deep breath and see if you can feel as relaxed as possible. See if you can, for just a moment, tune out the world. And this is a meditation, a guided meditation for the beginning of the year. Now that we're in a relaxed position, start to think back through this past year. Let images enter and exit your mind. Small moments, meaningful moments, smells, pictures, and faces. Think back now to last Rosh Hashanah. Where were you at the last high holiday cycle? What promises had you made? What goals did you have for the coming year? Move now late into September and October, the middle of fall, the Hebrew month of Tishrei, the holiday and time for harvesting. What kind of benefits did you reap this year? Financial, educational, experiential? See if you can recall them now. Think now about last November, roughly around the Hebrew month of Cheshvan. Late fall, colder weather, the natural world slowly moving from bountiful to barren as winter moves in, so that the cycle can begin again in the spring. Think now about the changes that you made in your life this year. What patterns did you break? What new work did you take on? Move slowly from November into December, the Hebrew month of Kislev, the month that holds Hanukkah, the holiday of lights and miracles. In what ways did you bring light or goodness into the world this year? What miracles happened in your life this year? Then think back to last January and February, the month of Tevet, the conclusion of Hanukkah. Then to Shavuot, the month that contains Tu B'Shvat, the festival of trees, a time for planting. Think about new projects that you started this year. What new plans did you make? What seeds were planted for you or your family's future? We move from late February into March, the Hebrew month of Adar, the ending of winter. And we remember that before everything changed, before the pandemic really began, we were able to celebrate Purim together, this festival of fun and revelry. What joy came into your life this year, even though we were in a pandemic? What ways were you able to remain joyful and celebratory? Can you think of any moments when you laughed? Take a moment and dwell on those. From March to April, from Adar to Nisan, the month of spring, the time we celebrate Passover and think about the renewal, rebirth, and newfound freedom. What struggles concluded in your life this year? Were there issues or difficulties that you were not able to overcome? Next, think back to May, the Hebrew month of Iyar. In the secular year, it was a time for the closing of virtual schools and the closing of the books. Think about the endings that occurred in your life this year. What issues and relationships and situations came to a close in these past 12 months? We move from May to June into the month of Sivan, the month that holds the holiday of Shavuot, where we sat in these very two seats and celebrated the receiving of Torah on Mount Sinai. Think about the learning that you did during these years. What new things did you learn? What effect did they have on you? From June into July and August, through the Hebrew months of Tammuz and Av, hot and humid, slow of activity, time for rest. Sorry, my family's so loud. In the Hebrew calendar, these months are a time of history and loss. Think about what losses have you had in your life during this past year? In what ways did you grieve? And here we are in the new year, making promises and setting goals. So before we do that, we take a few moments of deep breath. We want to remember this past year. We know that there are so many things we want to forget, but we want to remember it and learn from it and grow from it. And that's what Rosh Hashanah gives us the time to do. I want to just note as we are into our service here that, this is very different than the secular New Year. We don't take out, sure, you could have champagne or some heavier alcohol as we have had to have recently. But Rosh Hashanah is a time to reflect, and it is a time, yes, we celebrate, but we also spend a lot of time introspectively figuring out what was right in this past year, what was wrong, and how can we do better. And I think the best way to do that is to go through our year as we just did. So hopefully you remembered some of the highlights that you forgot, and we can learn from some of the pain that we all experienced. And we can grow from there and pray that 5781 is going to be a better year. Pray that we will find health, a vaccine, and happiness. All of these are important things. If you have a simcha, something that you do want to celebrate from this past week, or maybe from any time in 5780, if there is some simcha that you celebrated, throw it in the comments here. We're going to sing Micha Mocha in a moment. Maybe after that, we'll share those. Anywhere that you found joy or simcha, that would be really nice. So, Micha Mocha, let's join together in singing. I'm tethered to a kind of a short leash here with this headphone, but I'm going to try and make this all work. Let's join together. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Micha mocha ba'elim Adonai. Micha mocha nedar ba'kodesh. Nora tehilot o seifele. Nora tehilot o seifele. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 ya la 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 la. We'll sing Surah Yisrael in just a moment, and I don't know if that was enough time for you to put any gratitude comments in here. I see one from Charlie, and Rabbi, if you see any, let me know. Charlie says, grateful that Richard was able to retire this year. Woohoo! We're grateful for that also, because we get a lot more Richard in our lives. So that's good all the way around.
I'm from Jimmy, moving to Columbus and meeting so many wonderful people in synagogues. Thanks, Jimmy. Glad you're here virtually, and also that you're here in Columbus.
That's great. Jacob Dobris shared this, an unintended consequence of this year's services for me is that I feel a far deeper and more meaningful connection. Thank you for putting together a wonderful virtual service. That's really nice. Thank you for sharing that. And there is something very intimate about this togetherness, as Rabbi was saying earlier, and that's nice.
Yeah, I'm seeing from Debbie a shallow simcha, but Debbie, I would say this is very important that the brisket was perfect.
There's no such thing.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a shallow simcha. I agree.
And a perfect brisket.
To have a perfect brisket that takes patience and that takes work, and that's great. Hope you've got lots of leftovers.
And if so, please bring them over immediately.
Yes, please.
That sounds great. Pam said if we hadn't had a pandemic, we would never have had time to find our new condo. Finally downsizing. Yeah, all of a sudden we talked to Pam one day and their house is sold. So that's exciting.
Mazel tov.
Yeah, Mazel Tov. If there are other ones, you can certainly share them even as we get further into the service. Just so you have a little bit of a roadmap of what's coming here, we're going to do in just a moment the Amidah. We'll do then Untitled Chapter. We'll spend a few moments in some prayer and meditation, and then Rabbi Lynette has a great text for us to look at together this morning. We'll do Avinu Malkeinu and a shofar service, and then we will go on our way. We will enjoy this time we have together. Well, oh wait, a couple more gratitude things. Nadine Pabst, she's from my old life when I was the student rabbi in Victoria, Texas.
Wow.
It just has a lot of gratitude in general, and we appreciate that. Nice to see you, Nadine. Hello. Gail learned how to use Zoom. Gail, not only did you learn, you have mastered Zoom. She's got her microphone, different camera angles.
Yeah, and Gail
yeah.
also guitar. Also, that's another one. You've done a lot. That's
Yeah.
which is awesome.
Yeah, that's for sure. My mom says, grateful we're able to all be together even for a short while and spend extra time with our grandchildren. Also, we got to travel. Oh, before the pandemic. Yeah, it's true. You guys went to Hawaii, Mom. That was real nice. Grateful for all our wonderful programming. Thank you very much. That's really nice.
Yeah.
So why don't we turn to our Amidah together? You can find that. Did I miss the pages in here? I think I did. You can find that on page 168. And we have our special section in here, Zochreinu. And we ask God to remember us for a life well lived. And I think that is certainly the goal in this whole endeavor, a life well lived. So let's join together. We don't have Adonai Sefatai on here, but we'll join in singing. Adonai Sefatai Tiftachu Fi Agi Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Velohei Avotenu Ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzhak Velohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Velohei Leah. By the way, we're on page 168. Sorry about that. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'zocher Hastei Avot V'Imahot Umevi Geula Livnei V'Nehem L'ma'an Shemo B'Ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen. Oops, I missed the good part. Shemo B'Ahava Zochreinu Lechaim Melech Hafetz B'Chaim V'Chotevenu B'Sefer HaChaim L'Mancha Elohim Hayim. Now we say Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah. If you have a Sidur, a Machzor with you, you can turn to page 175. Or maybe if you have the download that Rabbi put in the comments, also page 175. Why don't we read this responsively, or you can read it along with me. Unatana Tokef. Untana Tokef. Let us embrace the day and its holiness. For this day is a throne of goodness and power. When the people of Israel do God's will, they strengthen God's power on high. But when the people of Israel fail to do God's will, they weaken, if one might say it, God's great power on high. So let this day recall your power and ours. Let it remind us of our promises kept and broken. And we remind you of yours. Let this day be a throne of forgiveness. For today we are the accountants of our souls, the navigators of our hearts, seeking wholeness and new direction. And we seek you, through signs of your presence in the arc of sacred history. I make this covenant not alone with you, but with those who are with all those who are standing here this day and all those who are not. God of ages past and future, God of this day, as you were with our mothers and fathers, be with us as well. And we say to that, Amen. Uvechein, 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 uvechein. Let us proclaim the sacred power of this day, a day whose holiness awakens the deepest awe and inspires highest praise for your dominion. For your throne is a throne of love, your reign is a reign of truth, on page 174 at the bottom of the page. In truth, you are judge and plaintiff, counselor and witness. You inscribe and seal, you record and recount. You remember all that we have forgotten. And when you open the book of memories, and it speaks for itself, for every human hand leaves its mark, an imprint like no other. We join in reading this interpretive version of the next part of this prayer, which you can find on page 179.
Sorry, let me just get there. Okay. So feel free to read along with us on page 179. On Rosh HaShanah, we plunge like swimmers into a sea of words. On Yom Kippur, the sea rises, then crests, and we emerge, sealed by the wax, warmed by the fire of braided candle. The new year is like a trailhead opening wide before us, the day of fasting, narrow, breathless, so quick to close. We contemplate a new year, and this we know. Some of us will live, and some of us will die. Some will die young, and some very old. Some by water, and some by fire. Some by sword, and some by beast. Some by hunger, and some by thirst. Some by plague, and some by earthquake. Some by stoning, and some by strangling. Some of us will feel at ease, some will be restless. Some will have peace of mind, some will have strife. Some will be tranquil, some will be tormented. Some will be raised high, some will be brought low. Some will have riches, and some will be impoverished. Even so, the way we act, the way we speak, the way we meet God's image in ourselves and in others, these things have great power to make our lives matter. Therefore, let us make whole the broken shards, green and thick the withering grass. Let the wind fill us with urgency for life. Let dreams give birth to justice and goodness. God of holiness, God of hope, let us glimpse your truth as we attach our hope to yours. Amen to that.
Amen, yeah.
I really love how this reading really captures, I think, how real and how much Untana Tokef allows us to really look at reality and accept it, but also accept what we can control. And like you said earlier, that a life well lived is really the goal, instead of just feeling defeatist about not just life in general, but especially now. So if you'd like to join with me in singing on the top of page 180 these crucial lines in Untana Tokef that remind us of how we can respond well to everything that feels out of our control. Uteshuva, utefila, utsedaka, ma'avirin et roa hagezera. But through return to the right path, through prayer and righteous giving, we can transcend the harshness of the decree, and also the harshness of my voice being slightly off key.
You're good. We say amen to that. I noticed we have a couple more comments here. A really nice one from Marvin. Marvin says all services, whether live or taped or in the parking lot, have been uplifting and inspiring. So thank you for your efforts. That is very nice. That's a nice simcha to share. Diane Wagon, that is my old friend from Milwaukee, is glad to be here celebrating. So that's very nice. We're glad to have you here. Well, friends, we have reached the end of this part of the service, and what we I think are going to do is take just a few moments to again take a deep breath, and we're going to go back to that moment where we were just a few moments ago when we were reflecting, and just have a few moments to reflect on this past year, where you maybe have hit the mark, what you feel really great about, and also perhaps where you missed the mark. We have these 10 days between now and Yom Kippur where we can make right those situations that we perhaps have been responsible for wronging. We can reach out to folks whose relationships are broken with ours. We can let folks know that that we're sorry. It's probably the hardest thing, or maybe one of the hardest things to do, to apologize. Maybe harder to forgive. I'm not sure. But we have 10 days to do it. 10 days where we're like really instructed for that to be on the top of our list. So make this moment of silent prayer and reflection be a good time to start making that list and figure out what can we do in these next 10 days so that when we start Yom Kippur, when we go through that moment of cleansing, we can start with a clean slate. So we'll take a few moments just to do that before we sing. Let's join in singing Yehi L'Ratzon. Yehi L'Ratzon, Imrei Fi, V'Hagyon Libi Lefanecha. Yehi L'Ratzon, Imrei Fi, V'Hagyon Libi Lefanecha. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Vegoali. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Vegoali. Yehi L'Ratzon, Imrei Fi, V'Hagyon Libi Lefanecha. Sing along at home. Yehi L'Ratzon, Imrei Fi, V'Hagyon Libi Lefanecha. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Vegoali. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Vegoali. Yehi L'Ratzon, Imrei Fi, V'Hagyon Libi Lefanecha. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Vegoali.
That was great.
So, do you want to do our text study first or Avinu Malkeinu? I can't remember which one you want to do first.
Let's do the text study.
Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna try and change the screen over here a little bit. We'll see how this works. Let's see here. We should have Rabbi Lynette. Oh, hold on, I gotta fix this for a second. Why don't you tell us about the text study while I fix the screen?
Sure, that sounds great. So obviously there's a lot of different things to discuss on Rosh HaShanah, and something that I don't think we have focused on so much in previous Rosh HaShanah text studies is the book of First Samuel, the very beginning, and it tells us the story of Hannah, or Hannah in Hebrew, and this is what we traditionally read on Rosh HaShanah, the Haftorah portion. So this is a special story, and we can definitely think about as we hear the story why the rabbis may have chosen Hannah's story of all people, and in particular a woman's story to share on this particular holiday. So Rabbi, you mentioned Shavuot. We read Ruth on Shavuot, and on Rosh Hashanah, among many other stories, we also hear Hannah's story. So I see I'm up there. Awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
So I'll just kind of paraphrase the story a little bit in the interest of time. But if you have a Bible, if you want to go to the Sepharia.org, there are that's a really great Jewish basically library of all of our texts. So that's a great place to read the story in full. These are just a few excerpts. But basically, a long time ago, this is after Moses and after we've settled in the land of Canaan. It's been a while after that time. There's a man whose name was Elkanah. He had two wives, one named Hannah and the other named Peninnah. Peninnah had children, but Hannah was childless. And Elkanah used to go up from his town every year to worship and offer sacrifices to the temple at Shiloh. So this is still when we were doing those good old animal sacrifices that I would not be able to do if we still did that. Thankfully, we do not. So if this already sounds a little bit familiar, even if you're not familiar with Hannah in particular, this is a kind of a common theme in a lot of our stories. And we know that this means that someone important may be born from this type of story. And obviously it's a little problematic. From a feminist point of view, it's a little problematic. We know that, people who are struggling to become pregnant, that is a real issue. And so this is not meant to minimize that at all. It's I like to think of it as kind of a literary device that is so problematic. But there it is. And it gets worse because Hannah, because she was not able to have children, the other wife, Peninnah, who she is called as her rival, would taunt her and would make her miserable. And this would happen all year throughout the year. Her husband, Elkanah, does not quite understand why Hannah is so miserable, asking why she's crying, why isn't she eating, why she's so sad. Am I not more devoted to you than 10 sons? So he's clearly Hannah really wants a child, and she is not able to do so. And she is quite miserable by this family dynamic. And she is not being clearly understood by her husband. So they are at the temple in Shiloh. And after they've had dinner or whatever meal this was, Hannah goes up. So by Rose going up, that means she's going to the temple. The high priest there, Eli, was sitting near the doorpost of the temple. So he's present there. And then this is kind of the big kind of climactic moment of her story. When Hannah goes to the temple and in her anguish, she prays to God while she's weeping. And she makes this vow. She says, "Oh God of hosts, if you will look upon the suffering of your maidservant," she's talking about herself, "and will remember me and not forget me, and if you will grant me a male child, I will dedicate him to the eternal for all the days of his life. No razor shall ever touch his head." So that means she will dedicate him to the temple, and he will be, primarily there. So she will kind of, in a sense, kind of give him back to God, not like as a sacrifice or anything, but so that he can be a part of the temple life. As she's praying, Eli is paying a little bit of attention, and he's watching that she's praying in her heart, and her lips are moving, but her voice cannot be heard. So Eli thinks that Hannah is drunk. And so he goes over to her and he says to her, "How long will you make a drunken spectacle of yourself? Sober up." So I laugh, but it's not very nice. It's not very nice. And I think that I would obviously, if you have any reactions to this, what you're thinking as you're reading this, but Eli is clearly seeing something different than what Hannah herself is experiencing. Hannah is praying very fervently and very authentically, but Eli sees that he thinks that she's being drunk, and he's not taking her seriously. And Hannah replies, "Oh no, my lord, I'm a very unhappy woman. I haven't had anything to drink. I've just been pouring out my heart to God." And Eli says, "Go in peace, and I hope God grants you what you have asked." So this exchange is very interesting. How many times as women have we maybe not been taken seriously? Probably very often. Thankfully, Eli realizes that he's made a mistake and responds well. An actual apology would have been nice, but we'll take what we can get here. So Hannah feels like she has prayed, and she said what she's needed to say. So she leaves, she eats, she feels better, and then eventually she does become pregnant, and she bears a son whose name is Samuel. And as you may have heard just now, the book is named Samuel, so becomes a very, very important figure. I believe he's kind of like the first prophet in this beginning of our books of prophets. So again, like I said, I know that this story is there are definitely points of challenge when we talk about pregnancy and stuff like that. And I think that we also can think about how to pray genuinely, and how to perhaps also see others genuinely. So if we let's see. So we've got a lot here, Rabbi, and I don't want to. I was a little excited to put together some stuff from Hannah. But how about if we?
Hello, I'm here now.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
So how about if I just will kind of paraphrase some of these teachings, and then I would love to hear what you think, if you have any answers to these. So these first two teachings are from Emily Barak, and she says that there's scholarly evidence, perhaps when you look at biblical scholarship, that Hannah's story may have been written after Samuel was born, or after the time of Samuel. So it's possible that this story was written to kind of explain how Samuel came to be, basically, and how he became so famous. But that we shouldn't deny the fact that the way that she prays and the impact is really quite extraordinary and quite radical. And actually the rabbis model prayer based on Hannah. So you're supposed to be authentic. You're supposed to be kind of mouthing the words, if you've ever seen that. But you're not supposed to be so loud that you're causing a distraction to others. The rabbis go through the whole thing. And Eli does not deny the validity of Hannah's prayer, even if he didn't quite understand it at first. So I'd love to hear, or it's something we can all think about together, how might we be praying and crying out in anguish differently, like Hannah this year, as we meditated on earlier. What are all the different ways that we may be experiencing loss, that we may be just sick of this, we may just be sick of this life and wanting it to end.
Can I throw another question in there also?
Yeah.
As long as you are thinking about this, I'm so struck by when you read about Hannah's prayer, and I want to ask people if you have a place where you feel the most prayerful. I don't know. I mean, is it so here we are, we're not in the synagogue for the first time in a long time on Rosh HaShanah. So is there a place that you go, and I mean either a physical place or a mental place, a place that you go where you find that you're the most prayerful? I don't know. I found being outside during yesterday's Shir Shirim service. We're in a freaking parking lot. It's not like we're in a beautiful park, but the sun was shining, and we were surrounded by trees and and people, people in their cars forming community. I don't know. I felt like that space became very prayerful.
Absolutely.
So I don't know if anyone has an answer to that or not, but I didn't mean to hijack the question. Back to you, Rabbi.
No, not at all. No, not at all. I think for me, one of the most spiritual moments I've had this year was our first drive-in. And it certainly wasn't in the sanctuary, but we were all together. We were singing together. It was outside, and I'm still overcome with emotion thinking about it.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely been something for us to really work on this year.
Do you remember when we were getting there, we were setting up for that first drive-in, and as each of us pulled into the parking lot, each of us staff members were like, "Oh my God, it's Lynette! It's been so long."
It was such a reunion. Yeah. It reminded
me
of how grateful I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. So I think we can really use Hannah as a model there. And I think Eli he's not quite the villain of the story, but he's certainly not at his best here. And I think that unfortunately or fortunately, we should also, I think, recognize that in a sense we can also be Eli. I think we are so tired and stressed, and we're all grieving, and we're doing 5,000 things at once. I think it can be I don't know about all of you, but I feel like I can get frustrated very easily when people are sometimes, frustrating. I can get very stressed out very quickly, or I can get angry very quickly. Even if that doesn't match what someone like cuts me off, and all of a sudden, my blood is boiling, and I'm like in the on the street, or when I'm driving or whatever. So I think it's important for us to also see Eli in ourselves, and to remember that we don't know where else is at. Everyone is having a hard time, and to try to be as patient and as forgiving and as compassionate as possible, even with people who we don't know, that and with ourselves, of course, as well. So I was also very struck by I saw myself in Eli as well. So we can try to meet everyone where we are and where they are.
Yeah, I'm all
Uh,
for that.
yeah. And then, so Rabbi, I'm kind of at the bottom of the page here.
Got it.
After Hannah gives birth to Samuel, she has a song, where she, it's like it says, a poem of thanksgiving. And she is so grateful that she got what she needed out of prayer. And there are a few songs of women. Miriam has a song, after the Song of the Sea. Deborah, our judge, has a song as well, and here's one a little earlier than that from Hannah. And I love this from Emily. Sorry, what's her last name? Emily Barak. She says this line: "My heart exalts in the eternal, my strength is exalted in my God." It's remarkable for its language choice. There are active verbs attributed to Hannah. She prays, she says. Therefore, Hannah is at the center of her own faith. And the use of possessive pronouns: my heart, my strength, my God. Hannah takes ownership of her faith and her Judaism. So I would, and I see we've got some answers here, so maybe I'll pause and take a look at those. But her method of spontaneous and genuine prayer, like you were saying, Rabbi, about finding different places to pray and different different ways that we're accessing prayer. Maybe that's something that's always spoken to you. But maybe that speaks to all of us now a little bit differently. And also how we're taking ownership of our Judaism, how we're at the center of our faith now. Hopefully we always have been, and we can always work towards that. But that we are choosing our communities, and we're choosing to be Jewish in a way that feels perhaps a little bit different during this pandemic, and during times where we may feel disconnected, or really like Hannah, in a sense of anguish, and then also feeling that joy in that community and that sense of gratitude. She kind of embodies both sides of that pendulum. And to really own it, I think, is a very powerful reminder for today.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. And there's some beautiful responses here. I don't know if we want to just let me switch back to our original screen here, and
Yeah, I'm kind of scrolling up here, if you can see where we started.
yeah. I wanted to just mention that that Hilda a few moments ago, when we were talking about the how tough it is to do forgiveness and to ask for forgiveness, mentioned that the hardest and saddest is when you reach out to somebody, and I assume you mean reach out to someone to patch up a relationship, and that reach is rejected. And certainly, yeah, that is really, really tough.
That's hard. I'm sorry, Hilda.
Yeah. And you can certainly feel good about yourself that you made the attempt, and maybe that person will be ready at some point. But at least you've been able to let it go for yourself, so that's great. And what are some of the other ones that you see, Rabbi?
I'm seeing a lot of really beautiful kind of outdoor places of prayer. I see Dawn mentioned sitting on her patio, quietly experiencing the world. I love that. Hilda mentioned a particular beach. let's see, Howard mentioned the shores of Lake Finley with eagles soaring overhead. That sounds pretty cool.
That's nice, yeah.
I see your mom Candy mentioned being outside in the early morning, like a lot of outdoors. Marvin saying sitting on his porch, and Miriam saying going to the cemetery and watering the flowers at the graves of her family. Thank you for sharing that, Miriam. And it strikes me the feeling of being outdoors as a particularly prayerful space.
Yeah. So the good thing is we don't have to have the the terrible loss that Hannah felt. We don't that doesn't have to inspire our prayer. Prayer can be inspired in a lot of different ways. But certainly I think she's a model for how to communicate and how to how to find God in your heart, which is a challenge these days.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And I love that she gives us permission in both the times where there's anguish and the times where there's joy, that there's prayer. There's and like you said, what she went through doesn't have to be, is not a prerequisite for us. I do think it's powerful that it's from a woman's particular, story, but that's not, necessarily indicative of any, particular amount of prayer. It is ironic. It's a little ironic with how things developed a little bit later.
Fair, yeah.
But in traditional Judaism, but yeah, I think that she can remind us that prayer can happen anywhere and at any time and with any particular feeling, and that's just as valid as being, in the sanctuary and with a prayer book.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, thank you, Rabbi, for that text study, and thank you all of you who contributed to the text study. Don Schneer said also for Eli and ourselves learning not to be so judgmental. That's a big one, especially this time of year as we're entering the day of judgment. Yes. Where we ourselves maybe are feeling judged. I think it's an important idea for us to give others the benefit of the doubt. That's for sure.
Yeah. And I would also add ourselves. I'm hearing from a lot, especially parents who are feeling like they have to do everything and they can't do it perfectly. So they're failing at everything. And it's please forgive. Let's all forgive ourselves. We're all doing the very best we can.
Forgive me for all the background noise today with our kids screaming at each other.
Yeah.
We're trying. Well, we have Avinu Malkeinu, which you can find on page 223. We're just going to do that and then our shofar, and that'll be the end of our service. So page 223. Rabbi, should we just take turns here?
Let's do it. Sounds
good.
Good.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Kolenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Almighty and Merciful, hear our voice.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu Lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, we have strayed and sinned before you.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol Aleinu V'Alol Aleinu V'Tapenu. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and on our families.
Avinu Malkeinu, Kalei Dever V'Cherev V'Ra'av Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, halt the onslaught of sickness, violence, and hunger.
Avinu Malkeinu, Kalei Kol Tzaru Mastin Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, halt the reign of those who cause pain and terror.
Avinu Malkeinu, Kotvenu B'Sefer Hayim Tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, enter our names in the book of lives well lived.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chadesh Aleinu Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu, renew us for a year of goodness. Yes.
Amen.
We'll take that.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu V'Anenu, Ki'in Banu Ma'asim, Aseh Imanu Tzedakah V'Chesed V'Hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, Almighty and Merciful, answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love.
We say to that, Amen. Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu V'Anenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu V'Anenu, Ki ein banu ma'asim. Aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed. V'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu V'Anenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu V'Anenu, Ki ein banu ma'asim. Well, everyone, we're going to turn to the our shofar calls. And Rabbi, why don't we go to the last set of shofar calls?
Perfect.
We can find those on page 284. Page 284. And as we were getting ready to do those, there's actually like a nice shofar reading. Sorry, if you flip back here, I got loose pages, so they got out of order, and that's fun. Well, we'll just we don't have to do a liturgical reading, but we can just do the blessing, and then hear the call of the shofar.
That's great.
So the blessing is Baruch Atah Adonai. Actually, let's do the one on 284. I like that even better. Baruch Atah Adonai, Shomea Kol Turat Amo Yisrael Barachamim. Blessed are you in our lives, Adonai. You hear with love the shofar, the true voice of your people Israel. I say to that, Amen. All right, I'm going to take off. You might get a little bit echoey here again. I'm taking out the headphones. Okay. So, where's the shofar? Let me find that. This is, by the way, like the number one activity for the children in my house to try playing the shofar. Jake and Sammy can both get a sound out of it, which I am very impressed with.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes. They maybe also played baritone. Oh, wait, they didn't. That was middle school for me. So, everyone, the shofar it's such a precious and wonderful sound. And we're getting to the time of year when we're gonna have to put it away on the shelf again. And I always get a little bit sad. We do blow one more time after this. We'll blow it on at the very end of Yom Kippur at Ne'ilah as we close out our service. And I'm picturing where we normally are, where I have been for the last 12 years, and Rabbi for the past bunch of years, on our bima, looking with the lights down as the sun is starting to set, and we hear the call of the shofar. The end of Yom Kippur. We're going to be in a little bit of a different setting because we'll be in our parking lot, and don't know if the sun will be setting yet, but it's going to be a different sensory experience than we're used to in the sanctuary. So we blow the shofar, and that call means a lot of different things, but maybe right now we're thinking of it as the call from within us, that yearning for life to go back to normal. For us to be able to do all the things that we've put on hold, to pull all those pieces of paper out of the jar that you talked about yesterday. And we know that that's going to happen. And how soon is the question. So, all right, Rabbi, you want to do the calls and I'll do the shofar?
Absolutely. So
Okay.
again, everyone, we're on page 284. Tekiah. Shivarim Trua. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shivarim. Tekiah.
Oh, is that it?
Nope.
Okay.
You just cut out a little bit on my end.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Tekiah. Teruah. Alright, you ready for the last one?
Ready. Bring it.
Tekiah Gedolah.
I am very red.
It's okay, we're already sunburned from yesterday.
That's true. Does anybody else? I guess you guys were all in your cars. Rabbi and I both have, and a lot of the people who are playing music, we have mask tans.
Yes, tans.
No burning here, burning up there.
Yes. Hey, is it harder or easier to blow shofar sitting down or standing up? Because I feel like almost all the time you're standing, but
yeah, it is harder to blow it sitting down because you can't there's can't get as much air in there.
Right.
At least for me, it is. Yeah.
Well, either way, Yashikov, that was
Thank you.
all right.
Yes. So the end of our service here. Why don't we do? You want to do Kaddish, Rabbi?
Sure. Yeah, I know we're all remembering folks who we miss, especially over the high holidays. We are mourning Joan Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I'll try not to cry, but it's been very difficult this weekend. Who was I was reading some of the things that she helped change from back in the 70s, that women couldn't get their own credit cards, that they couldn't. What were some of things? Oh my gosh, there were so many. Couldn't have their own credit. They couldn't get their own loans. They couldn't face any or they couldn't pursue any legal action if they were assaulted by their husbands. Like, there's so many different ways that she helped make our lives equal in ways that we take for granted. And as a Jewish woman, to see her live our values and help create a more just world. It's a very personal loss, I think, for all of us.
And then
if there are, oh no, please.
I was just gonna say, and also, the holiday time is just like you. I think you also, first of all, it's really hard to lose somebody at holiday time, and I think we'll always think of Justice Bader Ginsburg during Rosh HaShanah from now on. Mm-hmm. But I think we also think of our family members. Going to the sanctuary with them, yes, maybe some, but more for me, I think, is the family dinners that we had. I think about my grandparents' living room with a giant table going through the middle of it, where we all would sit and eat matzo ball soup, and we spent most holidays there. I certainly am thinking about them during this season. And I know that there's a lot of folks who also are thinking of their loved ones who aren't with us. So for them and for the good justice who we are thinking of, for any others who are named and unnamed, all those who have known to say Kaddish for them, all those who have perished from violence, we're thinking about you on this Rosh Hashanah, and we are remembering you with love. So our Kaddish Prayer is on page 294. Rabbi, you want to read this in honor of Ruth Bader Ginsburg and others?
Yeah, I'd be honored. And of course, if you're remembering someone or just want to say Kaddish for all those who we've lost, feel free to please read along with me. Eat gadol v'it kadash shemei rabbah. Be'alma divrach hirtei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon uvyomechon uvchayi dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shemei rabbah mevarach le'olam ulamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran ba'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru amen. All of their memories before a blessing. Amen. I think you're muted, Rabbi.
Sorry, I say amen to that as well.
I was thinking, actually, I remembered some of the other things that she helped change, which was that a woman could be pregnant at work and be fired for it. Like, you could be fired if you were pregnant, and we were also, of course, paid less. Like, just so many things that you don't even think about.
Still working on that one.
Yeah, still working on that one for sure. She helped, with marriage equality, just so many things. So many things. I'm sorry, I'll stop.
No, I mean,
but
it's she deserves it, that's for sure.
Yeah, and to grow up in a world and not even think of course, like she said, a woman should be in the room where all decisions are being made, and I was able to grow up feeling that was possible without even taking it for, without even thinking otherwise.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we'll continue to live her legacy. And create justice in the world.
Amen to that. Well, everyone, this is the conclusion of our Rosh Hashanah service, our second day Rosh Hashanah service. And I think that there is this tendency to, as the holidays end, there's like a little bit of a lull. And after Rosh Hashanah, I feel like Rabbi and I have worked hard to get Rosh Hashanah together, and now it's like the day after the party when you're feeling a little sad. But the good thing is, in just a few days we have Yom Kippur. In fact, we're doing some work for Yom Kippur just tomorrow afternoon. So we hope that Rosh Hashanah has been meaningful, and hope all the more so with Yom Kippur coming up a week from tonight. So I was thinking maybe as a closing song we could do Lech Lach, to a land that I will show you. So if you want to sing along, that'd be great. Lech Lach, to a land that I will show you. Lech Lecha, to a place you do not know. Lech Lach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lech Lach. Lech Lach. And I shall make your name great. Lech Lecha, and all shall praise your name. Lech Lach, to a place that I will show you. L'simchat chayim, to the joy of life. L'simchat chayim. L'simchat chayim. L'simchat chayim. Lech Lach. And you shall be a blessing, and you are a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lech Lach. Shana Tova, everyone.
Shana Tova. Thank you for joining us this morning.
And we will we'll see you soon. I guess next up, Friday night. See you for Shabbat Shuvah. Who is right? We haven't even thought about that service yet.
Oh yeah, Shabbat.
Right. Yeah. Oh well. We'll get there.
Yeah, we get to read all the tiny print. Which
Yes.
is
Yes. That's exciting.
Yes, and our religious school opening day is next Sunday. Also, very exciting.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yes, we had to reschedule that, but really excited to welcome in a new religious school year too.
Absolutely. Well, everyone, Shana Tova, Happy New Year! Thank you for being here in community together, and we're glad to have everyone there. It's been now is the time normally, by the way, when we go downstairs and eat all the leftovers from the Rosh HaShanah Kaddish luncheon. So much egg salad. Yeah. So much tuna. Many baked goods.
Yes.
But
from Amanda.
Yes, from Amanda, and also anonymous sources on the leftover baked goods
That's also true.
just left at the temple. We are certainly going to miss that, but hopefully some of you guys can reach out to one another and have a meal on Zoom together, or eat safely at each other's patios, and that'll be good. All right, that's enough for us here. Shana Tova, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Happy 5781.